Little Godzilla looked at the stinky fish breakfast prepared by his father with a look of disgust on his face. In his mind, he was thinking about the hamburgers made by humans, so he decided to make his own breakfast. But collecting the ingredients was a big problem. First, he came to the territory of the baby Mothra. After saying hello, he walked in gently. Finally, he found the long-awaited flower of cheese in a water curtain cave. But just then, a strange sound came from a distance. The curious little Godzilla couldn't help but go up to check, only to find that two monsters were actually playing games. Seeing that he was discovered, he was so scared that he immediately fled from there. He ran to the beach and buried his head in the sand. Angela beside him was immediately very speechless when she saw this. But little Godzilla found the bread sea star by accident. He couldn't help licking it with his tongue. Then he ran to the garden on the island, wanting to find a few leaves as a substitute for lettuce. But just as he opened his mouth and bit a vine, he found that it was the body of a man eating flour. Seeing that the other party opened its huge mouth and was ready to attack at any moment, little Godzilla immediately became scared. He quickly picked off the leaves to soothe his wounded heart. Then he fled from there as fast as he could. After a whole day of hard work, little Godzilla finally found substitutes for the cheese, bread, and lettuce. Now all he needed was a tomato to complete the task. However, tomatoes were very hard to find on Skull Island. Little Godzilla ran all over various areas of the island for this. Finally, he found the trace of tomatoes in a crystal forest. However, this crystal forest was the territory of Space Godzilla. This put little Godzilla in a dilemma. He could only sneak in while the other party was sleeping. He quietly reached out his hand towards the tomato. Cold sweat kept dripping down. Fortunately, he finally managed to pick the tomato, but just as he was about to leave, he accidentally stepped on an aluminum can and made a sound. Space Godzilla was instantly awakened, and immediately spewed out a stream of flames straight into the sky. Little Godzilla was so scared that he rolled down the hill in a panic. Then he let out a sigh of relief with lingering fear. He almost became the first Godzilla to be roasted just now. Fortunately, there was nothing wrong with the tomato. After collecting all the ingredients, little Godzilla stacked them together, and made a Godzilla's special small hamburger. Then he couldn't wait to take a bite. Unexpectedly, he suddenly showed a painful expression. Then he threw the hard-made hamburger to the ground, and his face was also full of sadness. It doesn't understand why its own food is so unpalatable. Just then, the ground suddenly began to shake. It turned out that Dad had come home. Little Godzilla said aggrievedly that he wanted to eat a hamburger. Dad could only run to a fast food restaurant near the beach. The boss was so scared that he lost his wits, and quickly presented a giant hamburger. Little Godzilla finally got to eat the hamburger he had been longing for, and his face was also full of happiness. But just then, a ship suddenly came nearby. Dad immediately showed a fierce expression, and instantly scared the ship to flee in a panic. And the story ended here. So, sometimes, doing it yourself may not necessarily lead to good results. Don't get stuck in the strange circle of being stubborn.